I can't come up with any ideas for a video. I've been thinking for like an hour. Do you have any video ideas for me?
No.
Well, then get out of my room.
This is my room.
Oh, crap, you're right. Oh, my God. Oh, crap. Bulbasaur. I didn't know you could talk. But anyways, I cannot think of any video ideas. Do you happen to have any video ideas? Like, any at all? Come on, you gotta have at least one idea. Okay, Bulbasaur, you're literally a character of Nintendo, and you can't come up with a Nintendo video idea? You're literally a Pokemon. Like, you don't have anything for me? Damn, Bulbasaur, why have I never come to you for advice? It's a great idea. But I also gotta say, why are you speaking in Undertale subtitles? I thought you were a Pokemon. And second off, Red and Blue were not the best Pokemon game. Okay, whatever. Yo, how's it going, guys? It's your boy, Jarhead. I hope you enjoyed that little intro thing. It was pretty bad, to be honest, but, you know, whatever, alright? So today we're going to be talking about Pokemon, obviously, and I'm going to be talking about what, in my opinion, makes up a good Pokemon game. With the launch of Sword and Shield coming up, I'm pretty excited, but I also want to talk about some of the things that I want from a good Pokemon game, some of the things I don't want. Looking at some of the aspects and reasons why Pokemon games are either really good or really bad. So yeah. So Pokemon has obviously evolved over the years, you know. It's went from very, basic, Red and Blue, to now Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, where we're in the same region, everything, but it looks beautiful, obviously. Technology has gotten better, and, different ideas have popped up over the years. So yeah, Pokemon is different than it used to be, but at its core, at its base, Pokemon is still the same game. It has the same basic mechanics. You go, you fight, you catch all the Pokemon, and there's been a lot of changes and updates. For instance, the physical special split and stuff like that, but it's still relatively stayed the same over the years. You could compare a game like X and Y all the way back down to, for instance, Red and Blue, and the games look completely different. If you didn't know what you were playing, if you didn't know it was Pokemon, you couldn't even tell that they were the same game or from the same series, because they look so different. But if you played through the games, you would realize that they are the same basic game with a bunch of changes and a bunch of new stuff. Why is this important? Well, it's because, yes, Pokemon at its core is the same, but the things that make the games great, the things that make the games either good or bad, come from the different changes, the small little mechanic changes, or the big region changes that happen throughout the different games. And, this is really what makes or breaks a Pokemon game. So I want to talk about some of the bigger and smaller details that I want to see from Pokemon Sword and Shield, and some of the things that I generally just like in a good Pokemon game. So let's get into it. I want to take a look at some of the smaller changes I want to see from Pokemon Sword and Shield first. One of my favorite things Pokemon does is they add like little small details that throw back to the older games, and I love it when they mention like Kanto or Sinnoh or any of the other regions in a new game. For instance, I remember in Pokemon Black and White, when you're walking up towards the Chargstone Cave, I think it was called, there's a guy who talks about him being from Kanto, and I'm pretty sure he was a Team Rocket member. They do this all the time, and these little details, it's not a mechanic change, it's just little details, little Easter eggs that just make the game so awesome. Some of the different mechanic changes, like having the Pokemon walk behind you in Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, and Soul Silver and Heart Gold, obviously, is really cool. The map that you were able to fly over in Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire with Latios or Latias is an awesome change. All these little small, mechanic changes, they really don't make a big difference, but they just make the game overall more fun. Now, a lot of people have been arguing that to make a great Pokemon game, there needs to be something new, something we haven't seen before. And this would really be awesome, you know, to see like a open world Pokemon game, for instance, like Breath of the Wild did. But we don't need it. You don't need that to have a great Pokemon game. Pokemon, you know, without the big open world or whatever changes, would still be it's still awesome to play through. And I want to talk about some other things like the region and Pokemon that make a great Pokemon game. So for region, I always love to see new and innovative regions, and with Sword and Shield, I'm pretty sure we're going to England, and England is really awesome. I think that'd be fun, but I'm also worried just because I wasn't a big fan of the X and Y region. It was in France. It's based off of France. Now, this is not something that Pokemon can really control. You know, you feel differently about different regions. Like, I love the Sinnoh region. I know a lot of people that hate the Sinnoh region, and I also really enjoy the Hoenn region. A lot of people think there's too much water or whatever, but that's generally just, you know, personal preference. I generally like more open and tropical feeling regions with different areas, you know, whatever. But that's not all. Region is not everything, you know. Of course, I want new cool Pokemon. We haven't really seen too many new Pokemon. We saw like the starters, and I think the starters look okay. They look pretty bland. And one of my favorite regions of new Pokemon was Kalos, because they had not very many new Pokemon, but they had some awesome new Pokemon. And I really like the, you know, quality over quantity. You know, like with Unova, they really had the quantity over quality. There was a lot of bad Pokemon, but there was a lot of them, so, you know, it balances out. But I really want to see quality Pokemon. I want Pokemon to put their time into making these new designs, and it's really gonna, that's one of the things that's also gonna make or break the game for me. But there's some other things that haven't been introduced into the Pokemon games yet that I'd really like to see. First off is side quests. Now, I played a little bit of the deleted game Pokemon Uranium, which was a fan game. The game is amazing. It is better than some real Pokemon games. The people who worked on it for years, and the game actually had a storyline and something to work towards. You know, your mom or something, I forget, dies in a nuclear explosion, and there's a bunch of like cool things to do, and there's side quests, and it's really innovative. You know, Pokemon Uranium wasn't your everyday Pokemon game, and I want Game Freak to change up the game. You know, leave it as it is. Not like Pokemon Let's Go. I wasn't a big fan of Let's Go. I also didn't like the trials from Sun and Moon, and I'm glad they're, you know, testing out, you know, trying to change things. But with Pokemon Sword and Shield, I want them to try new things like side quests, like a more, you know, in-depth story, right? Pokemon is an RPG. It's a Japanese RPG, and a lot of Japanese RPGs have great story. Pokemon is not one of them. And I want to see Pokemon have this good, awesome, you know, in-depth story. It'd really be amazing, but also with side quests. Side quests is one of the biggest things I want to see from Pokemon. And I think the Pokemon Company could definitely take some inspiration from Pokemon Uranium and some other fan-made games like Pokemon Glazed and Pokemon Light Platinum. Really great games. If you haven't played them, you definitely should. But yeah, that's just a few of the different things. There's a bunch of different stuff out there that make or break a Pokemon game, but in my opinion, those are just some of the different things I think Pokemon could add to make their game a bit better. I don't know. Let me know what you're thinking. This video was pretty bad, but I don't care. I'll see you guys later.